So again, let me go because it's just started the recording. Welcome to our town hall. The goal here is to help answer questions that you might have. Some of you may be saying, why this shirt I'm wearing today versus a Citadel shirt or something like that. Well, we've been trying to shake it up things with our meetings, and I just finished a meeting with the leadership of the School of Engineering. And today was crazy shirt day or Hawaiian shirt day. So everybody was wearing something and we were all checking it out. We've even started trying to look at backgrounds and see what kind of different backgrounds people are bringing into it. So what we're going to do today is, first of all, I want to say I am just blown away by the efforts that many of you are going through to engage in your courses, to complete assignments, to continue your learning this semester. I know some have had computer issues. We've sent some computers to some of you. We've sent some hotspots out. I know that some of you are using neighbors' internet, going to their houses. I know that some of you are having to help your siblings through their homework. And some of you have even actually taken on a job to help your families because their job they've been furloughed or lost their job. Our hearts go out to you. We're praying for you every day. But I am blown away again by the incredible can-do attitude that all of you are showing. I look at the content, what's happening in the courses, and again, I speak for all the faculty that we are so proud of what you are accomplishing. Now, I sent it out in the message beforehand, but I just want to reiterate. This is incredible times for all of us, and I expect the faculty to do a lot of things. I expect them to provide content for each lesson, more than just a PDF. I expect them to have some voiceovers. I expect to have assignments that challenge you still. I expect them to return it quickly after grading. Use the best practices for testing, and especially as we're getting ready for final exams in a couple of weeks, to make sure that you all get the credit for the work you do. I ask for them and expect them to make themselves available during office hours, such as being online in the course chat room, during the regularly scheduled class times, or even better, being on Zoom and answering questions. What we're really doing is flipping the classroom where we're providing the content ahead of class time, and then we're asking for you to review that before the class, try the homework, and then come to class and ask your questions. We're taping the remaining labs. We have lab techs doing that. We have faculty going in and doing that. And the idea is that you just won't be able to collect the data yourself, but you'll receive the data and you'll be able to work on it. And that we're also expecting them to meet you halfway. It is a two-way street. It takes both of us, you and them, to be able to accomplish these classes. And that's what we're asking for them to do. But I also expect some things from you all in return. And I know most of you are doing this right now. Most of you are accomplishing this by going past these insurmountable obstacles. And that, again, thank you. We ask for you to sign in SitLearn before each scheduled face-to-face lesson, because we're still keeping that same structure and time schedule. It's just like prepping for a face-to-face class. Find out what's been posted, what's there for you to review. Expect you to engage in that content before you get to that class time. Complete the assignments. Faculty, many have moved the due date till after the class Zoom time versus before class. We expect you to upload assignments, just like turning in the night before, right before class. And we also expect that you're participating in Zoom sessions or chat room discussions on SitLearn. If you have questions, reach out with those questions to faculty, teammates, work together with Zoom or any other platform that's available, FaceTime, and competing your joint work on designs, such as the capstone or lab projects, if they are supposed to be done in a group. We're also expecting you all to not let this movement to online prevent your success. That's what makes you Citadel grads, is that you're able to overcome all the different challenges that are thrown in front of you every single day as a cadet or as a member of working full-time and going to class at night. And so what we want is to say, hey, no excuse, but do not let an issue stew for more than a day. If there's something that is slowing you down, let us know what that issue is. Mr. Harris has put his email address out there, told you to email him. You can also find my email address on the webpage. Email me, and we will do everything we can possibly to assist you in finding a possible solution. If you're struggling, reach out to your classmates. The Student Success Center is open, doing incredible work, but you have to reach out to them. Talk to your instructor, email them, contact them in a chat room, send the question out there. Talk to your battalion company tutors. that you were connected to before spring break. They're still out there. They're still doing great stuff. And they're still probably more than willing to assist you. Contact your academic officer NCOs if you're a cadet and ask for help. Ask for suggestions if you're not being able to connect with that tutor before and see if there's a new tutor out there. Go to your company academic advisor. I'm the one for hotel company. Reach out to us and we will do what we can to help you move forward. But the bottom line is get the assistance you need. Do not wait for the help to come to you. Be aggressive, be persistent, and make it happen. Use a phone, use a Zoom, email. For your electricals out there, use Morse code. Whatever it is it takes to get that communication going, please don't let that slow you down. All of you that are doing well, I pray that you are willing and telling your classmates that you will willing to assist them. Discuss concepts and procedures. Of course, I'm not asking you ever to email them your solution. Always discuss it on Zoom or email or a phone call, because if you give them the solution and they use it, the honor code's still out there. And so we want people doing their own work, but we want that conversation, that collaboration to continue. Again, meet the faculty at least halfway. Each has to do their own part, but you are key to the success of your own work. But we're all standing by to assist. Faculty cannot see your facial expressions and the confusion you might have. Even if they were doing a Zoom, there's 25 of you, that's 25 tiles to try to keep circling back and forth to see that confused look. So make sure you're asking that question. Come off of mute and ask it in the class, or type it into the chat box. Get that question out there so that they know. And even if they were doing synchronous, they still could not see your facial expressions, which many of us rely on so much when we're teaching face-to-face to be able to understand if there's a question or so. But make those questions known. Talk to your faculty advisor and let them know. If you're having issues, contact the department head. If you're not getting anywhere, again, I say it again and again, email me and I will respond and I will make sure that the team is responding to you. Now, that's just some thoughts on what we all can be doing, and congratulating you and thanking you for all that you are doing. I asked you to give me feedback on online learning. I asked you to talk about maybe challenges and barriers that we have not been able to meet yet for you, and general questions. So what I'm going to do right now is ask you not to use any specific faculty names. This is not a bashing session of any way. And the idea is for you to provide us input and questions that I might be able to answer. I have 4 big chunks of questions right now from yesterday that many of you sent in ahead of time. And so I will start with those. I will answer those with the best information I know, and I'm meeting almost daily with the provost team to figure out how we're making everything occur. If you have additional questions, put them in the Zoom group chat. Mr. Harris is going to help me try to grab those each time so that I'm not trying to chase all the questions, but give me a chunk of questions every so often that I will then respond to after I respond to the ones you've already sent to me. And after this session's all over, we will take every question that was in the chat box and we will work up answers for those. And I've already informed the faculty that the answers will be sent to them to post as an announcement in each of your courses. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the recording and make sure that it's viable to be able to be sent out. And if it is, then we'll be also asking them to post that, the connection to it so that you can review it. You can have your parents review it. The idea is that we want to make sure that we are transparent in everything we're doing. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to send those in. Oh, by the way, I saw the nice mustaches and beards and all that kind of stuff. I love them. It's awesome. You don't see me doing it because I've got that gray hair on top. And of course, when my beard comes in, it's got patches of black and white and they're not symmetry on there. So my wife, nah, can't have it. So that's why you still see me clean shaven. A little longer hair, and it'll probably get longer as we go through this time. First question. A rumor that I've heard that resulted from a survey based on the use of Zoom for online courses is there is a chance that certain engineering courses might be considered to be brought online, perhaps lessen the workload on engineering overall for the fall and the spring. If so, what courses are being considered to be brought online? Rumor? Yes and no. We have been working over the last year and a half to move the availability of statics, dynamics, mechanics materials, circuits 1, circuits 2 online for the summer to allow those of you that are trying to catch up before junior year to be there. And they will be there beginning popping up this summer. We're also moving every graduate course we teach to be available online the next time we offer it. So we have been working in this online world for the last 3 years and trying to get better with it. But what we're doing is a thing called lecture capture, where we're capturing in a live class. And so that when you see that class, what you're seeing is as if you're sitting in the back of the room. Well, that's not what we have right now. There are a few faculty that are going into the office to use that to tape lessons as we go through this time with online. So with the dynamic transition to online this spring and summer, and long summer. Yes, we're going to be online summer 1 and long summer. Because once we start summer 1, a long summer online, we're going to stay online. And all faculty working in this online role for this semester and the summer. We're now asking all of you during advising, and if you haven't, they're going to come back to you, but we're asking all of you in advising if you would be available for a summer course online. Then we're going to be looking with you at the courses you need to take, and what courses do you need to catch up on, and what courses ahead would be best to be offered in the summer. We're going to put this list together. We're going to find out how many students we have. And by the way, we offer face-to-face classes every summer. And so those classes that are normally offered every summer face-to-face will be offered this summer online as well. As soon as we can see 10 or more students desiring a course that we do not normally offer, we will ask a professor if they're willing to teach it. If they are, then we'll list it. And those of you that already said you want to take the course, we will reach out to you directly to make sure you know it's available to register. We will send a note to all to let you know what's possible. Courses that have a lab component are harder and are the hardest to convert, especially if we have faculty, and many of us do, and some of us, that the hands-on component is critical for completion of the course. But we're working on those issues right now. We're working on ways to hopefully create some of that to be virtual. Remember, as a faculty, we love to teach face-to-face. We did not ask to move online, but are doing so because of this virus. The path of destruction is causing all over the world, and our desire to protect as many people as possible from becoming infected and possibly dying. They say that anybody over 60 is at risk. And tomorrow's my 60th birthday. So all of us who are of the more senior age are concerned. And so we're trying to do everything we can. And now today we're seeing young people, babies. So we're all trying to do what we can to be separated and keep ourselves from being infected and causing others to be infected. So this summer, some of you have been talking about the type of online training that's been going on. This summer, we will be doing extensive training with almost all faculty to work towards to improve the summer and spring courses being taught online with the best pedagogical practices. Courses right now are being offered the best the faculty could do on short notice, and hopefully, and I do say hopefully, you are seeing improvements as they move forward, as we all learn how to best communicate online. So the shorter answer to the question is that we will be considering during advising sessions this spring and everyone in the future, do we have a cohort that would like an online course to be offered in the summer to decrease the workload during the fall and spring for engineers? So since everybody's got experience teaching online now, and we're going to be improving the quality of it, we're now going to be making that possible if we have 10 or more students that want it. However, we must always keep in mind, and this is for all of you, that you need at least 12 credit hours each fall and spring to be a full-time student. GPA calculations with at least 12 credit hours each semester are required for scholarships to include your ROTC. And in some cases, there's a requirement for at least 30 total credit hours for the entire year. Those are things that we are trying to work with you as we talk about advising as well to ensure that your scholarships stay in place. So hopefully I answered that question. And like I said, we'll post this again in the announcement section. Question 2, is there an update on the status of summer 2 classes? Well, right now there isn't. What we're hopefully going to be able to do is offer those classes face-to-face. That is our hope and prayer, just like we've done in the past. A decision on summer 2 moving online will most likely be made later this spring, most likely as we start summer 1 online. That's 7 weeks of class time then, and we'll probably make the decision early so that faculty have time to move that class on. First of all, going to Canvas, we'll be using a new LMS system starting 1 May. Everybody who uses it, faculty and students, says it's much easier to navigate than Blackboard. But we need to navigate and mitigate and migrate everything over to Canvas. Even if offering face-to-face summer 2, we might be offering online courses based on what we learned during our advising ongoing right now, just as I mentioned on the other question. So yes, it is face-to-face right now, but that could change, and we'll let you know as soon as we possibly can, and probably as we start summer 1. Question number 3. Is the Citadel opting in or out of pass-fail scoring system, such as the one that's at the College of Charleston and other institutions have already done? Has it been discussed? What is the outcome of these discussions? The reason behind the decision, if there has a decision been made? And then they provided me a link to it, and I went through the entire link that's at the College of Charleston. And I want you to be rest assured that that we're looking at this. The first colleges to go to are all private schools that jumped immediately to pass-fail. And most of those have large endowments, and students have heavy amounts of scholarship through the school itself. So they control the GPA requirements. So I'm gonna answer that question. There has been, and there will continue to be, and I know over the next couple of weeks there will still be more discussion on pass-fail options at many levels. Right now, the president has noted in his Facebook address that we're not moving to it. The approval, by the way, to move to pass-fail must be done by the faculty. And that's something that I, as administrator, have no say over. Unfortunately, they have not been meeting, but they are having their first meeting, the Faculty Senate, tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of the top questions asked and a decision made. First of all, I would like to also remind everybody that right now the withdrawal date for our classes that you're taking this semester has been moved to the last day of class. So there is no reason to give up on a class. There's no reason not to fight tooth and nail all the way to the end for an A through a C grade. That's what we're asking you to do. And if it turns out that at the last day of class, you talk to the instructor and there's no way with the final and based upon your current performance on exams could pass the course, then that's the time to withdraw. And that course will not count in your GPA as well. Additionally, if you did a pass-fail and you took and failed the course, that would still become a U, an unsat. And what that means is that either one of those, a fail or an unsat, you'd have to take the class over again because especially if it's a class that is required for the major. The only difference is that the U does not count in the current GPA, which can be beneficial depending on what scholarships that you might have. So if available, myself, I would never advise a student to move to pass-fail until they've seen their final grade prior to the final and have talked with the instructor of the course and their advisor to make a rational decision on what's best. If failing and can't pass the course with the final exam because of how much it's going to take a max or more than a max to pass, then yes, I would take the fail score versus an F, which would prevent the F from being part of the GPA. But if it's a required course, it would have to be taken in the future anyway. So that's something we need to look at. With our grade replacement policy, when you take a course over you'll have to replace that F or U with a course that is an A through C. And the same thing, and then at that point, the F, by the way, goes into the GPA calculation, but once you replace it with grade replacement, that F goes out of the GPA calculation totally. So we get to the same place, and you never know how you'll do on the final until you take it. So if they ask me about pass-fail, and if it is passed, my first thing would be to ask that it's not available until after you see your final grade after finals, so that you get to see, and then only make a decision after you've seen that final grade and what's best for you as you move forward. We know there are issues with ROTC scholarships, and that the College of Charleston has very, very few of those. And right now, ROTC has not allowed a GPA waiver to be able to continue to have your ROTC scholarship next fall. So, and there's also issues with the HOPE, the Palmetto, and the Life scholarships that also need a letter grade and at least 12 credit hours each semester to keep it, at least for now. And until we hear different, we have to move forward on that. Is something that we must talk to you about. I've reached out to ABET accreditation. We've reached out to SAC-COC accreditation, which is for the entire school. And all state, and this is the statement they all give, that before a student moves the grade for a course to pass-fail option, they need to know the long-term effects. That is, if you don't have 12 credit hours and you don't have a GPA that meets the requirements for your scholarships, ROTC, that you might lose them. And the other thing is that going to graduate school or, or medical school or any of those, they're still going to want all those courses to have a grade. So you're probably going to have to go back after the semester and retake them anyway. But we haven't made a decision yet. So again, here's some impacts on students that we've put together as we're still trying to make sure that we make the best decision for everybody. And trust me, everything we're doing right now is focused on that we don't impact you negatively by allowing you to convert all your courses or just one course even to pass-fail. And so ROTC scholarships are an issue. Scholarships and fellowships that people have, both internal and external. Some of them have a GPA requirement that can't be waived. Athletic eligibility, something that a lot of people are not thinking about. It requires a GPA and a certain number of credit courses that count into the GPA. Professional licensing like the PE and taking the FE. Prerequisites for grad school, law school, medical school. Dean's List and Gold Star would be affected if you don't have at least 12 credit hours to count into the GPA. Some of you say, well, that's okay, and that's fine, but I just want that to be out there. Financial aid, again, for the Palmetto, the Life, the Hope. Academic deficiency, it could be helped by not getting an F to count in and lower the GPA. On the other hand, you still got to take the course over. Academic probation, the same thing. It could help. But grade replacement, using what's available to move a P to a letter grade versus you moving an F to a letter grade, we basically get to the same point in the future. It's question is what happens for the fall. And we're also looking at career impacts. What would an employer say by looking at somebody that, you know, I have to say as an employer, looking at somebody that has a whole bunch of W's for one semester, your real question is what happened? Same thing if all of a sudden you have all passes. Why didn't you, what was going on? What changed? It was only half a semester. So again, we just want to make sure that we're not affecting the motivation of you or our faculty or in any way. And by the timing of the announcement, and of course, we can't do anything until the faculty make a decision, and their first meeting is tomorrow, as I said, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I do want to throw some data at you about this too, before I finish up on pass-fail. When I look at fall and spring grades across the campus, at midterm, both fall and spring, we had about 41% of the grades were A's. And by final grade, about 48% of the grades were A's. Take B's. About 27% of the grades were B's at midterm, and over 30% of the grades were B's at final. C's, about 16% of the grades, 17% of the grades were C's at midterm. Midterm, and at final, it's about 14%. So people are moving up. D's, about 8% were D's, but at the final, it's 5%. And F's, it's about 6% at midterms, including this semester, same thing at midterms, and only about 3% are F's at the end. So we're using all this data. I'm providing it to you to help you to understand that if the faculty feel it's the best interest of you moving forward based upon it, and if we offer it, our goal is to try to not offer it until you see your final grade, so that you're not making a decision on what could have been, but what has happened. And that allows you to do that and make that good change. Okay, the next question. I hope that answered that. Again, I have no idea which way it will go. All I can ask you to do on pass-fail is right now, buckle down, keep submitting your assignments, turn them in on time, study hard, work with others, find a way to communicate and study together, and take these exams seriously and do well on them. And let's get those grades right where they should be, whether it's face-to-face or online. Quite a few of you have sent in a question that all comes together, and that is, classes I'm currently enrolled in and paid a lot of money for, who should I reach out to? And that person's me. And so that's why I'm taking this on. I feel like I'm not getting the knowledge that I signed up for, and it's somewhat frustrating because all we are given are PDFs to read. Now, I've told you before, I expected faculty not to just give you a PDF, but I give you a PDF that they've got a voiceover to explain why the content is developed the way the content is. And if you have that continuing, I need you to email me. Let me deal with that. We don't have the opportunities to access labs or work in groups at our labs. Well, you still have a lab session. You can set up a Zoom session during that, review the video together, and then work on the lab. You have to take a little motivation on this. In the past, you've had to get together to work on labs, to study for exams. It's a little bit different venue, yes, but assume that someone's traveling on a trip and you were still studying with them. What would you have done? It said online is falling short of my expectation as a student, and this is not what I paid for. Again, let me answer this question this way. Remember, as faculty, we love to teach face-to-face. That's what we came to the Citadel to do. That's what you came to the Citadel for. We did not ask to move to online, but are doing so because of the virus. The path of destruction, as I said before, that's causing all over the world. We want to protect everybody. We want to keep everybody safe, and that's what we're doing. And we are learning how best to accomplish the teaching, and hopefully we are getting better. And we will get better, I promise you. That I've got a plan in motion, and we will get there. You heard me on what I expect from faculty, so let me know if they're not meeting that, if they're not providing a voiceover, if they're not providing Zoom during class time, or they're not sitting on the chat box inside of the sit-learn for that course during the class time to answer questions. Let me know. I'm demanding for them to meet certain things so that there is us meeting halfway. We know that many of you are missing the structure that existed in face-to-face classes and labs that you're required to attend. Remember, required attendance is not required at most schools. So others don't have that same structure. And I know that many of you are missing that structure. Shoot, I'm missing the structure. I'm missing being able to visit with you in the hallways or in class. And I hate that I am not able to communicate face-to-face with everybody that I'm working with right now. So we need you to think outside the box on how to create that structure to ensure you can work together on projects, labs, and homework, studying for exams, just as you did when you were in the barracks, or in the evenings after class if you're taking evening classes. Use the free version of Zoom or FaceTime or any other platform that is available for free to meet with your classmates, to study, to complete projects, to get the work done. As I noted before, we are providing as many best practices to faculty to assist them and improve the quality of the online teaching they are providing. Just like you, their transition is a huge learning curve, and it's huge, and it's larger for some than others. As I stated before, this summer we will be doing extensive training with most faculty to work toward ways to improve the spring and summer courses being taught online with the best pedagogical practices. Some right now are being offered the best the faculty could do on short notice, and hopefully you are seeing improvements as we all learn the best way to communicate online. We will be taking these extreme training measures to ensure that we're ready for the next hurricane. That's right. That instead, we will give you 2 days to get where you're going, and then we will start teaching just like we are now online. This virus has caused us to show every faculty they can actually present content, and we are going to make sure that that's presented in the best possible way online in the future. And so therefore, there will no longer be these hurricanes where we're off for a whole week and trying to figure out how to make up the classes. Instead, 2 days later, we'll be offering classes and catching up. So this is not going away. This is going to be part of it. And by the way, for the last 18 months, we've been working on moving a continuity of instruction, which is required by SAC COC to meet the requirements for a pandemic, a hurricane, or an earthquake, anything that disrupts training and education. We have to have something in place, and this is just moving us to it at a little bit more rapid pace. So at this point, I hope I've answered those questions effectively. And what I will be doing right now is to look at the questions that are being offered and try to answer those. Again, everything that I answer before or during as we continue on with the Zoom chat room, I'll take all those questions, rework them, make sure I've got the right answers for you, and we'll have those posted on your announcements in your course. If this Zoom recording works out well and doesn't have buffering going on or poor internet issues, we just don't know that for sure from where I'm sitting, but where you're sitting, you might be seeing me buffering. Then we'll put that online as well. So, will graduate classes be offered online, and if so, is there an option to be a full-time online graduate student? Is this option what would be the most cost difference be? Well, let me first off say, for the students that are going face-to-face, right now your tuition is $6,570 per semester. The cost for every credit hour online right now at the Citadel is $488. So if you took 15 credit hours, remember I told you it was $65.70 per semester tuition, it's now $73.20. So you'd be paying almost $800 more for 15 credit hours versus what you're doing now. But the average load on campus is about 18. When you look at 18 credit hours, that's almost $9,000 in tuition, where today for 18, you're only paying $65.70. For graduate, it's $550. And so the answer is, to answer the question, yes, this summer, graduate classes will be offered online. Our goal in the future is that project management We'll roll out fully online this fall. We've been moving toward that already. It just hadn't been announced. So that will be available, all of its classes online. The 6 required classes, and then all electives that we have already available online will be available online. Every time we teach a class, like I said before, we do a lecture capture, and we capture that. And if it's captured the next time we teach, we offer a face-to-face and online. And if the face-to-face class does not have 10 students in it, we will push all of those or ask them all to move to the online session. We're going to do that, whatever's the most effective way to get the most people to get the class that they want. The reason we want to go graduate school online is because our belief is that every student that leaves here already knows the faculty. And that if we were to offer our graduate programs online and face-to-face for those that really want face-to-face, look, I'm a face-to-face guy and I really like a face-to-face class, and I would take the face-to-face if it was available. But if I'm traveling all over the world, or if I'm moving all over the world and working at different places, what a wonderful thing to be able to take a class right from a faculty member you already know, that you have a connection with, that you already can shoot that email off at any time and know that within about 12 hours you're going to get an answer. And so that is what we're trying to do with our online for graduate. If we are in the fall back face-to-face or summer 2, we will offer it face-to-face if we have not captured it yet, but we are capturing every one of them that we do offer face-to-face. Right now, the structures courses in civil graduate program have been captured. The manufacturing ones and mechanical have been captured. Right now, mechatronics is being captured and geotech is being captured. So we are moving this forward as we offer each class. The cost difference will be, whether you're in-state or out-state, the cost is the same for an online graduate course. So yes, it's a little bit more for the online course because of the technology back. It's about $100 more, I think, right now for an online per credit hour than face-to-face. But this allows, but if you're out of state, you still pay the same amount as whether you're in state because the technology, and we're trying to make it where so many of our students are working out of state as they graduate, and we want to be a source for them in the future. So I hope I answered that question. I've heard rumors that the next school year has a chance of starting late. Does this have any actual standing, or should it be shot down as a rumor? Well, right now, it's a rumor, but let me be upfront. All the pundits said back in February, oh, this is not going to affect the USA. We won't have to shut down. We won't have to change anything. And look where we're at today. We don't know exactly when in Europe and in Asia the first cases were found. A lot of it has to do with the fact that information is not available. So when we look at, they're starting to only now peak and starting to flatten their curves, and they've been dealing with us for 2 months. Until we can see what the real time is for the case, no new cases to show up, and for the virus to be shut down in every area, that's only then will we be able to truly understand when we'll open face-to-face, or whether we'll be online to start with, or whether we'll start late face-to-face. Right now, that is something that is being batted around, and we're looking at what ifs. Our job is not to create rumors. Our jobs are to prepare for the inevitable position that we may not be able to start face-to-face on time. And so do we move online first and then go to face-to-face? We just don't know. And so we're being honest that what we're doing is following the guidance of the governor, of the president, and as they lift the restrictions, then we will look at what we can do to get back to face-to-face, which so many of you are craving and wanting, and what we want to do. But we are looking at what are our options, how do we do it, how do we make the best decisions to provide you the best education. And again, if we continue that the tuition amount, if we have to go fully online, it will be more tuition, but you're not going to be paying room and board. The reason why we were able to cover everything is a combination of all the fees and tuition and room and board. So it's not a rumor, but we are starting to war game it, if you will, creating courses of action so that we are not standing flat-footed. That's the reason why you saw the Citadel actually tell every student before spring break, take everything home. We had no idea if we weren't going to come back, but it looked like we might not come back. And so we leaned forward. We tried to get everything done, including recognition before spring break. to make sure that we didn't leave anything out there that was critical, important to you as students, and then have you have everything you need to move online. One of the things we have learned is that we're going to have a required computer capability for every student in the future, so that we know that you can, when you go home, you'll have everything you need. You'll have a computer that can run the software packages, the student versions that are made available immediately. Also be able to do Zoom, because it'll have a camera and a microphone, so you're not worried about whether you have a camera or not. The only thing we can't control is the internet access that you have at your house or wherever you go. We will probably be finding ourselves teaching a couple of lessons every semester in every course. We may even move to have one course every semester that you have to take online, just so that you keep the skills up, so that in case this happens again, anything like this, and there's even people out there saying this could come back in full force when the flu season kicks off again. You hear it all, we're hearing it too, so we're right now trying to do what we best can to be prepared. The next one is my biggest concern is lack of communication with the professors. I've had multiple classes where I've lost points on an assignment because I could not get my questions answered before the assignment was due, despite me emailing 3 to 4 days ahead of time. This is obviously difficult for everybody involved, and I'm trying not to point fingers, but I would like to, I feel like we need a better method for communication that's going to take us days for us to get an email response. How would you recommend we proceed, since even the Zoom meeting invitations are sent via the same email servers? Again, I had a very pointed meeting this morning with department heads and told them that I expect every faculty member to be sitting on their chat box, chat in their course during the regular scheduled class times. I expect them to come on Zoom at least once or twice a week to give office hours to any student during the regular scheduled class time. I expect them to take every question they're getting and grab it quickly and move it into the chat room and answer it immediately, at least within 12 to 24 hours. Because you may send it at 10 and they're getting up at 9 the next morning, and so they can't get it back to you without 12 hours. And we don't have any emails are being sent. But if it's taken 3 to 4 days to get a response, I think it's not acceptable. And I also believe that that response should be sent out to everybody, just like you would do if you were asking a question in class, that everybody should have the opportunity to see that. So I will dig into that, and I will make sure that I'm very firm, and I was this morning. Mr. Harris could probably validate that that's what I expect of all the faculty to make sure that they are available and that communication is happening. I would also ask you to send that email to that professor, the original one, and say, hey, this is the question I asked that you didn't answer. I'd like those points back. And so let's see what happens there too. Do not stand back and let it happen. If you asked the question and that question was the reason why you didn't change something, then I think you deserve an answer of why they didn't respond. The movement to online classes have severely hindered the understanding of the material in engineering classes. I feel bad for the juniors trying to survive the toughest year while making this transition. How can students take steps while online to be able to grasp the concepts better? The course loads for classes have now doubled to try to make up for the gap between classes and online. Well, there's no doubt about the fact that there's more work online, and we've all said that from the very beginning. And the reason is because you tend to do more typing, more writing than you do a verbal answer. Faculty have no way to know how you're doing, so they're going to be throwing more quizzes, the ones that are actually doing the right things, to have you do a quiz before you come to the Zoom class time. We're moving it to being a flipped classroom where you're looking at the content beforehand. And yes, that means you're looking at it with nobody there to answer your questions. But my classes will have you have the board notes there and me with a voiceover and me talking through, me building out that board, every single one of them for you. The reason is because I want you to understand my thought process just like I would in class. I will ask questions just like I do in class. I'm not going to get the answer from you. I'm going to be making up the answers, but I'm going to be forward and make sure that it kind of flows like a regular class. That's what our ideal will be as we move forward. So if you do not feel that you're getting the communications that you need and it's not changing, let me know. And I and the department heads will reach out. If it's a department head, he and I will have the conversation. I understand what you're saying, that sometimes that facial expression that goes along, I mean, let's be honest, writing, when you're teaching, the words are only like 40% of the conversation. The 60 some odd to 90% of the conversation is the facial expressions, the tone, the intonation, the nonverbal communication that's coming with the in-class, and that's why it makes it so valuable. By the way, that's the reason why I fought 4 years ago when they wanted us to move online with voice over PowerPoint, but I said no. We want to move all of our classes to being online using lecture captures where we capture a real class so that you can see all of that from the professor. And it's just like you sitting in the back and you didn't ask the question. And in a real class being taped, the questions are being asked and they are being answered in that class. And so you're getting a feel for most of the questions, and then you can just go to the chat room and ask the rest of the questions. That's how we're going to be moving all of them on. We have 4 lecture capture rooms. This pandemic is going to probably increase that to where we're going to have 6 to 7 of these rooms. And our goal is that every faculty member who wants to begin capturing a class will start doing that. And all they do is they turn it on, the camera's in the back, it tracks them, and then they go in and clean it up a little bit, and then it's available for the next time they teach or when they want to provide an online class in the future. So that's how we're moving. If you think that, yes, you're right, because some of the extra work is also because you're not having your buddy to quickly ask a question of, and I know that for me, my entire career has been that if I get stuck on something, I learned very quickly to spend no more than 5 more minutes. And if I can't see it right away, I jump to something else to where I could be the most successful, where I can make the most use of my time and complete something that I have all the knowledge on. And then when I look at it a second time, many times I've already figured it out because that brain of ours is working all the time. And sometimes we see it differently for the second or the third time we look at it. But I always have set up for every course I've ever taken, I always have the person I know I can go to and ask a question, and I know when is the best time to ask them. Me as a dean, I'll tell you right now, almost everything that I produce and put together, I don't just put it together and send out. I try to be proactive and get it together a day or 2 ahead of time so that I can send it out to the department heads because I want their buy-in. If I don't have their buy-in, then it means nothing. It's just me telling everybody what to do versus me trying to guide the ship and trying to have us say, well, this is what we should be thinking about doing. Let's come up with a consensus of a direction to go forward. So what I'm asking for all of you to do is to make those connections back with the person that was your go-to person, the person that you could ask the question of. Shoot them an email and have them answer you back, or have them FaceTime real quick with you. Hey, can you talk? Right now, I constantly all day long, I'm getting an email. Hey, are you available? Or a text. Can we talk? And yeah, we'll go back on the telephone or having a Zoom session if there's 3 or 4 of us. Because those facial expressions are so important, and the tone of your voice as we try to understand and learn. So I implore you to try to use as much of that. And then again, I am going to go back after this, and I'm going to make sure that my faculty know that the biggest concern that you are having is a lack of connection with you, a lack of communication, and that they're not responding within 24 hours to an email as I would expect them to do. That is what I do, and so therefore I expect them to do the same thing. Well, that's the last of the questions. Are there any other questions so far? We're scheduled to go to 1:30. I'll sit here for another 10 minutes. If I get a question, I'll sit for another 10 minutes until we go, but I don't want to leave any question unanswered. I think most of you that know me have dealt with me, have had a class with me, have had been in a society with me, know that I'm transparent, upfront, and that I believe you are the most important thing we're doing right now. You're number one. Everything else is a support role to educating you. And it is being difficult for us to transition to online, and we're going to do everything we can to get better and better and better at it. Matter of fact, every other year I teach a teaching class, and one of the things we talk about is how to be effective online and how to make that difference. And the answer is lots and lots and lots of communication. And that has to be done through, like I said, Zoom during the regular. And by the way, this summer, classes will all be scheduled just as if they were a face-to-face class, so that continues to ensure there's a structure for Zoom meetings and any synchronous office hours. In the fall, everything will be set up just as if it was going to be face-to-face class times. Again, to ensure that we don't have 5 faculty all at the same time saying they're going to have their Zoom session. We want to make sure that those Zoom sessions are available for you and that there's nothing else blocking you out of them. And so therefore, we are going to make sure that structure is in place. We will be spending time this summer, again, going into labs ahead of time and getting 2 or 3 faculty together to think about how is the best way to present this online if we need to go that way, and tape as many of the labs as we possibly can ahead of time and collect the data so that we have that already ready to go for you on the first day of classes if in the fall the first day of class does not occur. We're hoping to, we're praying it, and again, we all want to get out of our houses and be social again. I want to thank those who have asked questions both yesterday and today. And I want to again thank all of you for the hard, incredible job you're doing. I know that it's tremendous. Some of you having to work, some of you having to do homework with your siblings now. Your parents are both finding what they can to do to work. Some of them are fortunate to still be working, and you're picking up some of that load. And my hat's off to you. I congratulate you. And I thank you for showing that persistence and resilience that is truly what makes engineers engineers. Okay, another question. Because of online classes, will this have any effect on the ABET certification on our degrees once awarded? No. I've been in contact multiple times with ABET. The only thing they say that we have to show that we're doing is that you as a student have been advised of the ramifications if we go to a pass-fail. As long as we have an A through F grading scheme, has no effect whatsoever. What we have, if we go fully online in the fall, as long as we're online because of this pandemic, we do not have to do any reporting to ABET on it because everybody's in the same boat as we are. But if we were to, and this is not going to happen at the Citadel, of course, but there are some schools out there right now who are considering, all right, do we become an online school only? Because they were already failing on the face-to-face. Do we try to make our way in the world because we've already done the online? Well, in that case, if you did have ABET accreditation, you would have to then submit to them and have all your programs revisited in this new online world. But if the fact that we're doing it because we have a continuity of instruction issue, it's going to have no effect. And it won't affect your degrees either. Civil, mechanical, electrical are going up for reaccreditation. And from what I'm looking at, the self-study reports right now that are being prepared and are about, I say 70% done. I don't see, I was an ABET evaluator for 6 years, and I don't see anything that would catch my attention as an issue for us. Construction engineering is going up this fall for the first time. And because we have 3 accredited programs already, they will get accredited. They may have some things to work through because they're a brand new program, but my belief is because our construction program is embedded right side by side our civil program, which has been ABET accredited since the 1916s. Was the first ABET accredited program in the state of South Carolina. And we've had a long history of no deficiencies. Very few years that we may have had a weakness pop up. And most of the time it was just because of something that was new and we hadn't made all the transition to it yet. That program will get accredited. It's just a question of whether we have to have them come back and visit us in 2 years or not because of something that they needed to come back and see. But right now, from what I'm seeing from the faculty and the job that the department head of civil is doing, I don't see an issue there either. Computer engineering, our newest program that started this fall, it won't go up for ABET accreditation until the first senior graduates, and that won't happen for another 3 years. So right now, I don't see any issues for ABET. And again, we're in contact with them. They have not moved back the date for the report. Right now, the report's due the 30th of June, but they may move it back just to give everybody a little time because of all the extra work that we're doing too. Because just imagine, faculty used to be able to pick up their notes, review their notes, re-review the reading assignment, create a homework, and then walk into class and teach and engage you. And now they're having to try to move, the best ones are trying to move everything into this online environment. And that has taken a lot of time, a lot more time to think about, how do I reach you? How do I show you what's the most important things? Okay, some of you are wanting to sign off. Like I said, I'll stay on if there's more questions. I just want you to remember, we're all learning so much, the faculty as much as you. And trust me, when I look at all the questions that are being asked of our Center for Teaching and Learning and the things that they have been doing to make sure that we have this transition, we will all come out of this stronger and better for it. I know we will, because as you go out into your future jobs, online education is the way most corporations are taking care of stuff. Many are starting to cut back on all their travel, not because of the virus, but now they'll be thinking about it, but more because of the cost of it. And they're going to these Zoom sessions. So I know that when we are challenged, we need to rise to the occasion and find the way that allows each of us to be successful. Do not allow yourself to be defeated, please. You guys are engineers, and I am so proud of all of you and all the stuff that you do, because everywhere I go and every person that teaches our engineers say, wow, those kids are really sharp. Those kids ask some deep questions. And I hope it's because you are engineers. And I hope it's because of the type of stuff that we are doing, as you said, and many of you said quickly, face to face. We will all be successful, and we will do what is best for each student in the end to assist you in moving forward. For some, it might be a withdrawal at the end of the semesters. Others, it might be taking that D if the GPA can support it. Some of you may, if the pass-fail gets offered, be taking a pass-fail for a D or an F, but I would never do it for an A through C. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't want to have to go back and take that course over. I want you to know that we are doing everything we can to assist the faculty. We are constantly showing them videos on best practices and providing that to them to be successful. Just remember, you are powerful. You guys have the capability. You're dedicated and the key to your own success. Thank you for what you are doing to be successful. Most important, be flexible, staying positive, and staying engaged. I salute you, and I can't wait for us to be able to get back together. Some of you might have a question on, what about senior awards dinners? Well, those are going to go on virtually. The department heads are working on how that's going to occur. They're going to recognize best performers. You've already heard the graduation is going to be virtual, and that in the fall, right now it's being looked at for mid-September, to have an opportunity for seniors to come back and do that incredible long gray line walk, most likely, but most for sure, what will happen is being able to receive the diploma and get a suitable portrait in your full dress gray or in your cap and gown. So have the faith. And like I said, I'll just keep sitting here and see if there's any more questions. Another thing to say to all of you, I would think that you all might want to do something like this too. Start having a crazy shirt day, crazy hat day, or something that allows the ability for have a little fun. We had, I think, close. Right now, I can see only 21 left out there. If you have a question, I'd be more than happy to answer it. I like the title of Dazed and Confused, whoever that is. That's pretty cool. Love it. We should be having a chance to laugh every day. We need to. Otherwise, I think we'll all be suffering. Finals will go on as scheduled in the actual scheduled time. And they will be a little more time than the 3 hours. If normally the final is a 2, best practices is online to give you a little more time to upload things. We're also even considering the fact that you can upload your scratch sheet so that we treated it just like we would any other exam. So yes, they will be going on, they will be comprehensive, and they will be at the regular scheduled time as posted earlier. I may have missed this earlier, but will heat transfer and mechatronics be offered online in summer 1? I can't answer that specifically because I don't have a list of all the classes, but if heat transfer and mechatronics, I think they were both being offered because we had, I think, a number of students that needed that to graduate in August. And so if that's those 2 classes, the answer is yes. But I didn't have a conversation on exactly what 2 classes were being offered this summer to help those who needed to graduate by August, because they had, but I do know there were 2 senior level classes that needed to be taken this summer for a group to be able to graduate on time. And if they are in summer 1 or long summer, yes, they will be offered online. And the reason is because everything's going to be online. But I will double check on that and answer that question specifically in the information. And again, this will all be posted by the faculty on their announcement section.